Do you ever just feel like you need to take a time out but don't really know how or if it's appropriate? We see younger kids, toddlers, they get timeouts, but sometimes we just need a break to just refocus, regroup. If that's something you want to learn how to do, stay tuned. Sometimes we get overstimulated, whether our senses are on overload, there's so much sensory going on. Sometimes we're in the middle of a heated argument, or sometimes we're just like feeling so overwhelmed with information that we just need a pause, and we can't do it around people. Maybe we're in a meeting and we're hitting left and right from people saying, you need to do this, or this needs to happen, or this and that, and we just feel like we need a timeout. Or maybe we're having a really heated conversation with our partner and we're just like, I can't keep going like this because I'm going to say something I regret. I'm going to say something mean or harmful or something that I don't even mean, and I just say it because I'm in the heat of the moment. Those are all perfect times when you could just go and take a time out. And I'm not saying a timeout in the traditional sense that you are bad and you need to punish and you need to go think of your thoughts and what you did wrong. No, I'm saying a timeout in the way that allows you to regroup and refocus and bring your attention back to your goal, right? So if you're having a really difficult conversation with a loved one, a friend, or even a coworker, sometimes when we're in the heat of the moment, it can be so challenging to get our thoughts through, to not feel reactionary, to feel like we can actually have a conversation where it's give and take and not just take. So an adult timeout is a great way that you can give yourself permission to refocus. All right, you're probably thinking, all right, great. How do I take a timeout if I'm in the middle of a meeting? How do I take a timeout if I'm in the middle of an argument? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to say? I need a timeout? No, of course not. They're going to be like, you're in this meeting. This is work. You're getting paid, or we're having a conversation. Don't walk away. But I'm going to tell you this little secret, and it works like magic. You tell them, I'm going to go to the bathroom, right? No one is going to tell you can't go to the bathroom. If you're in the middle of a work meeting and you can't go to the bathroom, well, then you need to talk to your HR about bodily functions, because everyone has to go to the bathroom, and maybe they say that wasn't the appropriate time, but that is a great way to get out of a really challenging situation where you need a moment to regroup and refocus and think about, all right, what's my next plan of action? How do I refocus? All right, now that you've used this really cool technique of going to the bathroom, you can actually go to the bathroom, and that's plenty of time, but what you can also do is pause while you're in the bathroom and refocus. So something that I challenge you to do is look in the mirror and say, what is going on that's causing you to feel so activated? What's going on that you're feeling so, like I needed a timeout? Did you feel overloaded? Did you feel like you weren't being heard? Did you feel like your senses were on overdrive? Sometimes we're getting so much stimulus, whether we're watching a video or we're on our phones or electronics, and there's all this stuff that we're getting information overload, and it can be really exhausting. Maybe we're in a very heated argument and we don't even remember what we're arguing about anymore, but we just know we want our point to be heard. So taking an adult timeout is a really great way to diffuse the situation, whether it's feeling toxic in an argument, feeling overwhelmed at a meeting, or maybe you're just needing a break. So you go to the bathroom, you look in the mirror, and you do some positive self-talk. What is positive self-talk? It's like being your own cheerleader. It's like looking in the mirror and saying, hey, you've got this. It's okay. They're having a bad day and they're taking it out on you. Or maybe we need to regroup, and maybe you come up with a game plan while you're away from everyone, while you're not in this activated area, and you can just have a moment to just think and be alone with your thoughts. And sometimes if going to the bathroom and getting out of that space isn't enough, a change of environment can be really helpful. So getting outside where there's a climate change. Here in Alaska, it's really, really easy to do because usually it's way warmer indoors than it is outdoors. So if I need to take a quick break, I can go outside, and that temperature change will just really wake up the senses of what is going on, because sometimes we go on autopilot and it's go, go, go. We're in meetings or tasks or this or that, and we don't have a moment to just pause. So going outside and having that climate change, or maybe you live in a really warm climate where you indoors, there's lots of AC and it's really cold, and you can get outside and that warmth is going to wake up the senses in a very different way that allows you to reconnect to your body. Going back to this adult timeout, practicing in very everyday conversations, right? Practicing in conversations that you might feel like might be escalating, they might be getting more heated. Practice giving yourself permission to take a break, to refocus and to regroup. And you can say, hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And they're gonna be like, okay, no one's gonna stop you. And if they are, then be like, why can't I go to the bathroom? And maybe they say, we're having a conversation. You can say, hold that thought. I'll be right back as soon as I'm done going to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, you regroup, you refocus. There's lots of techniques that we can talk about that you can do while you're in your timeout. And no, this isn't like a 30-minute timeout. It's a quick 5-minute regroup, refocus. And so the difference between avoiding and taking a regroup is that you're going to come back to the stressful thing after your timeout. So if you're in a heated conversation with your partner or your friend and you're wondering, well, am I running away from this conversation? Am I avoiding this difficult topic because it's uncomfortable? Well, you have to come back after your timeout and talk about it. And maybe when you come back and you can say, hey, things were getting really heated. I don't know where we got lost off track. Could we try again? Or I felt really activated. I felt really triggered. Maybe your anxiety was through the roof and you just couldn't hear what the other person was saying because your anxiety was telling you, danger, this is too much. It's too intense. You have to fight fire with fire. And then you get super escalated for no reason. Or sometimes we feel like we're on the attack and we have to defend our honor and we have to say, no, you're going to listen to me. And if you don't listen to me, I'm going to make you listen to me. And if you're not going to make me listen, wait, and we go. And then we're like, wait a minute, what am I even saying? And we start rambling, right? Just like I did, right? Taking a moment, taking a deep breath, do one with me, and regrouping to your reason for having that conversation in the first place. And maybe at work they're making some changes and change is really hard for you. And maybe you're thinking, I can't handle this change. It's too much. It's too fast. I don't know what to do. That's okay. Go take a break and come back and say that, hey, this is a lot of change at once. Can you give me a moment, right? And if your work doesn't let you have a moment, then you can always say, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And that's a really easy, safe space to go and regroup. Maybe you even have to splash some water on your face just to wake you up because you can't go outside. You look in the mirror and you just regroup. You look at yourself with compassion and kindness. And if you're not ready to look in the mirror and face yourself, maybe you just say it internally. Maybe you just say, hey, Alyssa, we're going to get through this. This is really challenging. This is really difficult, but we only have an hour left of this meeting. Or I love this person too much to argue with them. And maybe you say that. Maybe you come back from your timeout and you say, I love you too much to argue. Can we regroup in a day when I feel more grounded and centered? Because right now I feel so triggered and activated that I have to do all of this stuff. For what reason, right? And that's the whole thing about relationships, whether they're working relationships, romantic relationships, or even friendships. We're all trying to find that balance of how much can we push and how much can we pull. How much is our breaking point and how much is their breaking point. And sometimes you can even use this technique if you see that the other person is getting really activated or very reactionary. Maybe they're not even listening to you and they're so ready for the next response. And they're saying, this, and you're like, whoa, did you even hear what I said? Did you even process or digest what I've just said? Or are you just so ready for the defense? Maybe by you going and taking this time out actually gives them the moment to regroup themselves. Because now you've removed yourself from the situation, whether it was getting toxic or hostile, and it allows you to regroup while they get to regroup. And then you come back and you can both say, hey, that was really toxic. That was really intense. Now, if you're dealing with someone that refuses to take ownership or refuses to take any part of conflict or disagreements or feeling defensive, then just reminding yourself that I'm doing this so I don't feel escalated or triggered to take it to the next step. Because I can't control what the other person does, but I can control my own reactions and my own process in this whole give and take of friendships or romantic relationships or even working relationships. A lot of times when we get heated, it's because we want to share what we have to say. We want to defend what we believe. And sometimes the other person isn't in a place to hear it. Maybe your intentions are really positive, but the other person isn't ready to hear it. Great, go take that time out and regroup and tell yourself, maybe they're not ready to hear what I have to say, and that's okay. I'll be here waiting for them when they are ready, and if I'm not willing to wait, then I let them know that. But using this technique of an adult timeout can be really beneficial, and it'll allow you to think before you react. So we can talk about what that looks like. We live in a society where it's that knee-jerk experience, right? The doctor hits our knee and our foot goes up because it's a knee-jerk experience. The same thing can happen when we feel triggered or activated. Something inside of us feels so activated and we sometimes don't even know what that is. And we feel like we have to react because they reacted to us. We can break that cycle and we can change the way we argue, the way we disagree by a simple timeout. So comment below if you've ever given yourself an adult timeout or what that looked like. Have you any techniques that you use? Instead of maybe going to the bathroom, what do you say? Do you say, oh, I forgot something in my car, and do you go grab it? Or do you say, oh, I need to go turn the oven on? Or do you say, I need to go check the mail? Comment below on ways that you get out of really challenging situations that allow you to regroup and refocus. The difference between walking away from the situation and having a timeout is the goal is to come back and do the repair. A lot of times we focus so much on the intensity of the argument that we forget about the repair. The repair can be so much more healing, and repairing that relationship of coming back and saying, hey, I got a little bit escalated. I got a little bit too intense and I'm sorry. I'm going to own my part and I'd like to start over, or let's reconvene next week. Or if it's a working relationship and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I felt that I got so reactionary because I felt triggered or I felt activated. Or if your workplace doesn't use that kind of language, finding language that works for you and your workplace. The repair can be so much more healing than the type of argument in the beginning. So if you can come back and try to repair after taking that time out, that really can heal and mend the bond of most relationships, whether they're working relationships, family, friends, or even loved ones. When we can come and say, hey, I'm going to own my part, and I'm so sorry that this happened. I got activated and escalated. Can we start over? Right? And you keep hearing me use that same phrase, can we start over? And maybe the person says, no, we can't start over. I'm still really upset. And that's okay, as long as you know that what you're doing is congruent and in line with you. So let's recap this whole thing. Step 1, give yourself permission to take a time out. So telling yourself, right, maybe you just did a body scan, and if you're not sure what a body scan is, I'll link the video below on how to do a body scan. And maybe your body is saying, whoa, 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 this is getting way too tense and way too activated. You need a break. That would be a great way to recognize that you need a break. So recognizing that you need a break. Step 2, doing something that's going to bring you back to the moment, refocus and regroup. So maybe you do some positive self-talk. Maybe you change the environment, go outside or go to another room, splash some water on your face, but something that's going to allow you to shift your 5 senses to really connect in a new way. And then you have to go back. So 3rd is going back to the challenging environment or situation or conversation and trying a new narrative, trying a new dialogue, trying to fit in that new dynamic with a different headspace, with a much clearer headspace. So you always have to remember that if you're going to walk away and take a time out, you have to come back. Even if you come back to reschedule a different time, you have to come back, because that is how we work through challenging things. It would be so easy for us to go take the time out and then be like, I'm calling in sick, or I'm not going to talk about this, or we sweep it under the rug and act like it never happened. I'm sure you've seen that time and time, because I've seen that time and time again. So recognizing that the huge part in taking the time out is giving yourself permission to refocus, regroup, so you can come back and have a better tolerance of the challenging stuff. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you're new to this channel. We talk about mental health, self-help, and motivation. My name's Alyssa Cotten. I'm a licensed professional counselor, chemical dependency counselor, and I look forward to hearing your comments. If you have any questions, definitely ask in below. Follow me on Instagram for more up-to-date information on what's going on behind the scenes, and I hope you have a really great day. Thanks for taking time to check in with your body and check in with your headspace. Take care.